Hello, welcome to the next episode of Just Peachy. My name is Peachie Thompson and I'm your host. Just Peachy is a show where we interview leaders and subject matter experts in the fields of insurance, finances, and taxes. We also have a lifestyle section where we talk about anything and everything under the sun. Today's speaker is a financial planner and owner of Method Financial Planning and co-founder of Equita Financial Network, Miss Katie Burke. Hi, Katie. Thank you for joining us today and welcome.
Thanks, Peachy. It's great to be here. I look forward to our conversation.
Yes, Katie, so I'm very excited to talk about your role in the financial planning world, as well as how you balance being a mother to two young boys and having two businesses that you're running. So let's get started. Why don't you start telling us a little bit about yourself and your practices?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I own two businesses. I'm a mom of two young boys who are 5 and 7. I'm a wife, and I would say that I have about almost 2 decades of experience in the financial services industry. I started Method Financial Planning back in 2015, so about a year after I had my first son, and it was a way that I felt like I could get paid what I was worth and work with the clients I wanted to work with. So my practice at Method is really centered around busy working professionals. And it's kind of interesting because when I was building the values of the firm and the website and all of that fun stuff in the beginning, I really started to think about my husband and I sort of as the ideal client, where we're both busy, we're working full time, we've got kids, we're juggling just everyday life, but really thinking about how I could help and use my experience to help take some of this financial stress that couples like us are experiencing, to take it off their plate and just say, another area in your life that hopefully you look to outsource, like so many of us. I know as a busy mom, it's like I outsource as much as I can so I can focus on spending time on my work, and when I'm not working, really spending time with my family, because I think that's so important. So what kind of things can you take off your plate? And that's where that's who I think about and who I built my practice around for Method Financial Planning.
I love it. So you mentioned 3 things there that's very near and dear to every woman's heart, I think, right? One is that you have 2 boys, and then you did this with your husband in mind as well. So I guess is it safe to say that you started your own financial planning firm so that you can be a mom, a wife, and also have a career?
Absolutely. That was obviously one of the main driving forces. And I've worked for great companies in the past, but something that was always really difficult for me is I never worked with or alongside another female financial advisor. So I didn't know what that looked like in my entire career. Could I do it? I know I wanted to have kids, but my husband got married. I saw men succeeding in the position, and they were working, tons of hours, meeting after, late evenings, doing events, things like that. And could I figure out a way to be successful in this industry that wasn't that typical profile, and juggle being a mom? So thankfully, my husband was very supportive when I said, hey, I have this great idea. I'm going to leave my great secure paycheck, right? And I'm going to start my own company. So having his support and having essentially his buy-in to this idea was key to my success and feeling like I could be supported and launch this firm.
Yes, that's really important to do it together. I think makes a huge difference when it comes to the success of building your own practice. So you started Method Financial Planning in 2015, and then not that you weren't busy, you decided to start another business a few years later. Tell us about that, please. Was there something missing at Method that led you to start another business, or you just said, okay, I can do more and I'm just going to create another business just because I want to?
Sure, I'd have that awesome conversation with my husband again to say, hey, guess what? Method's starting to do really well. We're 2.5 years into this. I have an idea. So that's kind of how that conversation went. But essentially, having Method for that period of time, I really started to hone in on what types of clients worked well for my business and what type of business I wanted to grow. I wanted to take it to the next level and knew that in order to get the types of clients I wanted to work with and to be able to scale my business, I needed to work with the best resources in our industry. I wanted to be able to go up against larger firms like I came from and say, yes, you get the personal service of working with Katie and the core values of Method, but behind me is a lot of, essentially a big financial institution with all the blue chip services that you would expect to receive as a client. So around that same time, my partner in Equita, Bridget Grimes, she had started her own firm out in California. I met Bridget in California at a women's networking event years prior, and we worked for competing firms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I looked at her like, you have a book of business, you've done this. So we stayed in touch, and when she launched her firm, she called me and said, I just launched my firm, would love to have somebody to talk to and collaborate with as I'm not only building this business, but also on the planning side. We came from a place where there was other people around us you could bounce ideas off of. When you're by yourself, sometimes you really feel like you're a silo. Where do you go for trusted advice? So Bridget and I talked for, probably 6 months or so, and we liked working together kind of in this partnership so much. And then I was thinking about, again, those growth steps for Method. And we came up with this idea of why don't we find a way to partner together where we share resources, so it's more cost effective, but we keep our identities for our own firms. Because she has her firm, I had my firm, we work with different types of clients, and we wanted to still have that autonomy. So we spent about 9 months of due diligence and talking to attorneys to figure this out, all the while realizing that not only were we looking for, great vendors and partners for our business, but we loved having the support. So after, talking to other women in the industry, people would call us all the time, women saying, I left my firm, or I want to leave my firm. How did you do it? What did you need? How much cash did you need saved? What did you pick for your CRM? So we started to think about, let's not just make this a platform that's available for our firms. This is a way to support women in the industry and to keep them in the industry and to help them run the business and build the business that they want. And so that's where this idea for Equita was born, really, was just our experiences in the industry, running our own businesses, and what ideally we wanted for our own business. So I think it's important with other platforms in our industry, if we look at kind of how they're built and what the values are behind it. Bridget and I run our own firms. So we take advantage of all of the services at Equita, but that's why it was built. It was built for our firms, and we love now that we can offer it to other women and have that network and support around us.
Right. So it's the camaraderie is there, and then you have the power of really collaborating with another person who is essentially in the same sphere where you run around, right? Because these are also financial services professionals, and you're able to customize what you offer to them based on your own experience. So I think that's pretty cool. So now I'm curious, how does it work being a very busy mother, running Method, and then also on top of that, running with Bridget Equita Financial Network? So how do you do it?
I've learned a lot along the way. So I've had both companies for about 3.5 years now. One of the most important steps that I took was to work with coaches and find resources to help me figure out how to not have and be dragged down by the mom guilt that we all have, no matter what we do. If we're just dropping our kids off, at daycare when they're little, to even just go work part-time, or to, I travel for work sometimes, and to be able to leave my family. So we have a growth coach we hired for Equita that helps work with all of us in a growth setting. So I get to hear from the other women on the platform we've all come from different experiences and are at different stages in life. So to be able to feel like I can be in this trusted circle and say, especially during COVID, right? Hey, this is what's going on. My kids are right here. Like they're doing their little Zoom, during COVID, they're doing their Zoom meetings. I'm here. How do I do this? So a couple of things that have really helped me are letting go of things I'm not good at. I am not good at doing a lot of the organizing and participating in a lot of the school activities. I'm just not good at it. I have a couple great friends who are moms who work at the school or involved with the school board, and they know that I need help in that area. So they'll help me stay organized and say, I just got a text this morning, oh, it's apple and pretzel day sale at school. Make sure Parker has money.
Yes.
I so rely on my friends and my trusted, colleagues to help me with things like that. Other things I'm not good at, or I feel like I can trust somebody else to outsource it to. Things like, and this sounds silly, but I think this is helpful for everybody. Things like grocery shopping, going to Costco. I'm sorry, the last thing I want to do on the weekend or after a day of work is make a grocery list and go to the grocery store. If I can throughout the week kind of add it to Instacart or whatever delivery service you can use and know that Saturday I'm going to get a delivery, I just saved myself, I think I figured it was almost 3 hours a week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But really, honing in on what's my skill set, where's my time best spent, but then also working with coaches. I've read a lot of books. I'm reading one right now. It's called Drop the Ball. And it really is talking about communication with your spouse. And also, knowing that not everything has to be of utmost importance every day. A lot of us talk about how we balance it all. And I feel like it's not that everything's balanced in proportion every day, every week. It's kind of, this is the biggest need this week. So how do you balance it and still give the time that you need to, but maybe you just have to really prioritize. And this week, coming up with the holidays and everything that's going to be happening.
Oh, yeah.
We really need to figure that out, because running your own business, as you know, there's a lot of things going on, and the kids are off school and there's holiday shopping. So, being efficient, and again, having my people, my trusted people that really help keep me on track and say, you know what, you don't need to feel like you need to be a perfectionist in every area of your life.
That's, I could not have said that any better, Katie. And I appreciate that, the realness. I can feel the realness in what you're saying. And a lot of parents, men and women, do struggle with letting go of things that people, like I'm guilty of that. Like I can do so many things that I'm really good at, but I'm not great at. So, but then I tend to do so much and fill my calendar with all kinds of stuff. So it's really about, and I found that, like you, it's about finding, I call it the unique genius, and what it is that you really are very good at, and what you should be spending your energy on versus trying to push a wet spaghetti up against the wall. It's the best analogy that I could come up with that. So you talked about your people. Are you able to share with our listeners who are the people that inspire you and help you be you?
So I would go back to, the innermost circle of my family, with my husband agreeing to go along this crazy journey with me. And it wasn't only crazy from a standpoint of him understanding how important it was, especially in the first few years, of how much time this was going to take. And this was evenings, weekends, and him having to be on board to say, you're going to have to figure it out with the kids, because, if I'm home with them while you're traveling to and from work, I need to then work in the evening when you get home. I need to work on, like I said, the weekends. Maybe we had a family party scheduled, but guess what? Like, I have this really important thing to do. You have to really both be in it together, not only financially, but also, schedule wise. My parents, my dad launched his own business when I was in 7th grade. he was working as a salesman for another company, and much like me, eventually realized that you know, the only way that you'll get paid what you're worth is by building a business.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember him set up with his first office in our basement on this little Fisher Price table with the phone, right? And he was just on the phone. And so having that mindset of, even when I started my businesses, I don't need everything perfect. I just need to start, right? I don't have to doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. Just take those steps. So being part of that experience and watching him succeed,
Mm-hmm.
I think gives me a huge confidence to know that I can do it too. I watched it happen. And one of the best things, you know, besides, you know, initially meeting Bridget, right, is now this community of women at Equita. Because like I said, not only from a business client planning perspective of, hey, I have this odd situation, how would you all handle it? Or have you dealt with this? Do you have a specialist in this area? To have that community around me, but also the sounding board of women who, when I need the extra kick or I need the extra, it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's okay that you know, this didn't turn out as well as you wanted, especially on the kid side. It's okay. You know, we've been there. It happened. Here's my story about it.
Yeah.
I tell this one story that I thought I was kind of checking all the boxes at my son's preschool. This was a couple of years ago. And they had a note that came home that said, here, we're going to build gingerbread houses. Everybody needs to send in supplies. And I ran out to the store and I got marshmallows and the candy. And I sent it in with my son. And then he got off the bus that day and he said, Mom, I was the only one that didn't have somebody there to build a gingerbread house with me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, your parents are supposed to come in and build it. And I was like, oh my God, how could I misread this?
Yeah.
I am not, for some reason, like, I can plan everybody else's life.
Yes.
That little spot, that little detail missed me. And I remember telling Bridget about it. And she was like, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's going to be okay. And now we joke about it. You know, he's like, oh, do you remember that time? Because we talked about it and he knows.
Yes.
And he's like, Mommy's working too. And it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But to have that trusted support from women, where instead of me sitting here, again, trying to find where I can get that advice from, I have it right in front of me and it's amazing.
Yes. And that is huge. That is huge. And you're not the first person who's told me a very similar story. And the good thing is our kids are very resilient. And what they do remember, at least my own experience, having my eldest daughter just turned 13 over the weekend, what they remember are the fun things versus the stuff that, hey, they didn't happen as they should have, you know? And I find that now that she's 13, we can talk about some of the funny things that I may have dropped the ball on when she was a little younger. And it happens, you know, especially for working professionals. And as a mother, you know, you just know that you're doing your best, right? You're doing the best you can for your child or children. So that, and having that, having someone to share your experience with and have someone tell you, hey, you know, it's okay. It's fine. You know, it happens. You know, now you can laugh at it. That is really huge. And I think that Equita is really good for women professionals who want to run their own business. And like you said, have a sounding board when it comes to experiences. So Katie, I want to talk about maybe something that is financial planning related. Is there maybe one thing that you want to talk about with our viewers?
Yeah, so going back to thinking about our lives as busy professionals, and again, a lot of my clients for Method are busy professionals, whether that be their younger couple with a couple, you know, children, or they're maybe 5 to 10 years from retirement. There's a lot of decisions that you need to make kind of at both those stages and in between. The first thing that I tell my clients is potential clients is don't wait to call me and engage me in your finances until you're organized, because it's never going to happen. That's what I'm here for. That's why you hired me. Some people, I think, are embarrassed or feel like they're never ready. I get that a lot. And you're ready because that's what we do. As part of our role as your financial planner is to help organize your finances. In that introductory call, we're going to talk about, and we're just going to talk maybe about, okay, what kind of, what is do you know how much you spend every month? 99% of my clients say, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I say, was there money left at the end of the month? Well, generally, right? Because we have a savings account, some money goes over there. Okay, well, the first thing we're going to work on is, what's your spending plan? How much is coming in? How much is going out? And if there's money left, what are you doing with it? How can we most effectively save that money for the future? Let's make a plan. Let's automatically move that, whatever amount it is. Let's say we decide it's $500 a month. Automatically move it to savings or an investment account. Mm-hmm. Just having a process and a plan, I think, takes so much stress out of that picture, out of that part of your life. That's what you hire me for, to outsource the financial part of your life. So that is, don't hesitate to reach out if you feel embarrassed or like your finances are not together, because that is what we're here for.
And I think that is really a big hindrance for most people, thinking, oh, I need to have my ducks in a row before I can engage a financial planner. Because I think there's a big misconception that when you only engage a financial planner when you have a bunch of investments and you need help allocating them or moving them or guidance on taxes and whatnot. I think a big part of it is people, at least my experience with my own personal clients, is that they don't think that financial planners do help with budgeting, right? In getting people to understand the big picture of what a simple latte would do if you do it every day, right? That type of stuff. And with that said, my personal experience is that financial planners are able to be almost like a coach, right? A friend, a coach that people can engage. A therapist, yes. And that is very true. I am not a financial planner by any means, but, I do help with the insurance piece. And it's the same. You become a sounding board for your clients. So I am curious, with the recent changes in our tax laws, I don't know if there's anything in particular that you're hearing your clients, especially the working professionals, come to you and ask, like, hey, do I need to be concerned about this?
So one of the roles of your financial planner should also be a relationship with your tax advisor or your CPA. I feel like that's so important.
Yes.
Because any of the work that I'm doing, I want to make sure that we're all on the same team working for you. And it's really important that the communication, same with any insurance, people you're dealing with, any insurance advisors, mm-hmm. any attorneys, it's really your board of advisors around you. And I would say that a couple of the things that I'm working on with my clients now is digging into their employer retirement plan, seeing if there's options aside of the traditional, I just put some pre-tax money in my 401k. Mm-hmm. Are there Roth options? Are there after-tax options? I think that that's always something that we look at. So that's how much detail we're going into as your planner, right? We're digging into those documents to say, what is going to help you not only today with your tax situation, but with the upcoming changes in tax laws. What are we looking at going forward? What can we project? We can only plan based on what we know today, but I can give you, different options and scenarios based on what we see kind of coming down the pipeline. And taxes are a very important part of your overall financial plan. Financial plans are not static. I don't hand a client a financial plan and say, go, here are the steps to put into action, kind of just go. We work through those steps together and we revisit it at least every year, because you would be surprised how much changes in the financial and, from a tax planning perspective, even within that time frame, that's really going to impact your overall, plan for your retirement or whatever else what other goals we're planning for.
Right. So It's great to know that you work with other co-professionals, especially when it comes to what their niche is. Like at a CPA, would help with the tax planning for your own clients. So that's really helpful. Katie, is there anything else that you want to add for our listeners? Just Equita or method financial planning?
I just think, again, don't hesitate to reach out to, and I think that, Peachie, what you're doing, and there's a lot of great professionals within our industries, and there's a lot of confusion, I think, for consumers about who does what, how are people paid. So I always urge prospective clients to ask the questions. Ask, how do you work with other advisors? I don't have a lot of time to deal with this. Who would you recommend I work with other people? What services do you provide? What does it cost for those services? You want to find a good fit for you because there's so many different options out there. Make sure you ask the questions up front so you know what to expect, and also your other planners and advisors know what to expect and what's needed of them as well.
Excellent. Those are some very wise words, and thank you for sharing that with us. So, Katie, if any of our listeners have any questions about Equita Financial Network, we do have a lot of financial advisors listening to this as well, or your personal business, your Method Financial Planning firm. How do they get a hold of you?
So for Equita Financial Network, so our website is Equita, EQUITA, FN for financial network.com.
Mm-hmm.
And on that site, we've tried to put information out there that I think would be helpful for if you're running your own financial planning practice as a female, or if you're perhaps an employee at a firm or just want to understand more about what it would look like to run your own business, the services we provide, and the types of women that are on our platform.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great information on there. And there's a contact us sheet on there as well. We're always happy to, even if you're not sure what direction you want to go, or you just want to have that conversation to know that maybe you're on the right path. We're always happy to talk to, we love talking to women in our industry. The support, we're trying to change the way our industry works. We don't want women leaving. Women are so well suited for being in this industry. We just need the support to stay in it. And to get I talked to other women as well who are like, I didn't even know about financial planning as a path. So just to get the word out there, this is an industry that is great for women. It's great for working moms. I have flexibility and I love what I do. And I get to do it all and still be at baseball practice, because I make my hours as my own business, as I run my own business. So check out our website kind of as a first pass there. And then for Method, we have a website as well, and there's a contact form on there that comes straight to my email. Again, don't wait to contact a financial planner. And if I'm not the right fit for you, I have a great network of other professionals that might be a great fit. So always happy to share information and answer all those questions that you're going to ask me about my services and my fees and how I get paid and things like that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Katie. I appreciate the time you took for us today and for being so open and candid about how it is to be a mother of two boys with two businesses and a husband. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Peachie. It's great. Thanks, Peachie.
Bye-bye. Information shared during the show are opinions of the speakers. They are not legal, financial, or tax advice specific to you. Consult your own specialist, attorney, accountant, financial planner, or insurance advisor for your specific situation.